All right, sweet. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Fan Connection podcast, the interactive podcast on Twitch. Today we're joined with my good rugby teammate Jack. Jack, what are you up to right now?
Going on? I'm just in Nova Scotia finishing up my university degree right now. So just hanging out, excited to talk about some hockey.
Great. What about you, Harjan? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm also finishing my degree. Jack, are you done this semester as well, like me?
Yeah, last semester
Oh,
here.
let's go, man. That's sick. That's sick. Congrats
Yeah,
on that.
that's exciting. Thanks.
Yeah. How about you, Punch?
I'm starting next week, so yeah, because my term is February to November, so
Mm,
I'm flipped.
that is
Um,
that. Wait, that's one semester?
no, that's my
Oh,
whole
oh,
that's my whole
okay.
year.
Okay, nice, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's quickly jump into league updates. So I have Mark Giordano made his return to Calgary. They gave him the heartfelt video, and he looks great. He still looks great. Like I like a lot of the Calgary fans were saying he's a little bit on the older side. You know, he's not quite the Norris candidate that he used to be, but he's looking great in Seattle. Toffoli scored, and Milan Lucic is psyched to have him back in Calgary. I think the Sutter, Lucic, and the Toffoli connection is looking really good.
Yeah,
How do
man.
you guys feel about the Flames?
I honestly think the Flames they're the best in the division. Even with Eichel on Vegas right now, I think they're just so well built. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do in the playoffs. Like I said, I always say it's a different game, but I actually think they're built well for the playoffs. They're pretty good defensively, and Markstrom's gonna be as good as he's always been, right? And at least the
Mm.
last few years. And they already didn't have a problem with scoring. They have a bunch of guys scoring in double-digit numbers right now, and now you just added to Foley, who's also another elite scorer. Um, they're gonna be a team to watch. I think they're definitely the best in the Pacific right now for sure. Good trade for them.
100%. I think, like you mentioned, I think the wild card there with the Flames in the Pacific would be Eichel coming back for Vegas for sure, whenever that does come around. But
Mhm.
definitely they've been looking really good lately since they got back out of that little COVID break there. But yeah, it was good to see Goudreau back in Calgary. It was awesome to see at the end of the game there him have a little run at Kachuk, the former captain going at the future captain kind of thing there. A little passing of the guard in Calgary, so that was awesome to see.
Mhm.
And yeah, the fans definitely seemed happy to have Gio back in town.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was they ended up winning, right? The Flames that game.
They won
Yeah.
2-1.
Oh, okay, okay. Are you like an actual Flames fan? Like, do you watch all their games and all that? Oh, okay. I
Yeah, I
see.
try
I
to
see.
for sure, as
Yeah,
many as I can. So many of them end up being so late out here.
yeah.
It's like 3 hours later than Calgary. So if they're playing at 8 in Calgary, it ends up being like 11 out here. But yeah, I always try to
Mhm.
watch when I can or catch the highlights the next day if I miss it.
Yeah, that was like me
Mhm.
when I was living in Toronto. I've always like, been a Canucks fan, but the game started at like 10 p.m. then, right? And especially in the
Yeah.
playoffs when they actually made the playoffs every year, like over there it'd
Mhm.
be like if it went into overtime, it would go so late.
Yeah.
Like I still remember
Mhm.
our cup run year, like in 2011, they had like a double overtime game, and that went to like at least 1:30, 2 in the morning. And it was a weekday
Yeah.
too, so my mom was like telling me to go to sleep. I was like 12 years old then, and she was just pissed off. She's like, "That's enough. Just watch tomorrow." She kept coming downstairs
Yeah,
and bugging
exactly.
me, and I'm like, "No." She didn't understand like the magnitude of it. So,
Yeah, for sure. Especially in playoffs, you gotta watch.
yeah,
Mhm.
man, yeah. Stunked over here is saying, "Good man, go Flames." See, I hate to agree with you,
There we
or
go.
I can't agree with you there, Stunked, but yeah, at least you found someone you like here on the podcast. You got two Flames fans in the podcast
Good.
actually, Punch and
Yeah,
Jack
you're
over
outnumbered
here.
Mhm.
today.
I've got the weird thing because like I grew up a Flames fan, but then when I like actually started watching hockey and the Flames were just getting beaten up by San Jose, I was like, yeah, I'm a Shark
Oh
now.
yeah, you're a Sharks fan. That's right. Forgot about
Mhm.
that.
But
Yeah.
I've got a lot of love for the Flames, so like
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, and Cheese
yeah,
was in the
definitely.
chats also saying go Marky. Yeah, I mean like he's a Canucks fan like I am, but I like to see him succeed. You know, he is a good guy, and like I still think it was fine. I wanted to move away from Markstrom anyway, just because like we had Demko coming up, and it just
Mhm.
made more sense. Just to like you're not gonna sign him for what did he sign for? Was it 6 years, Markstrom? I don't know what it was, but
Yeah, I think so. Let me check that contract
I think it
there.
might have
yeah.
been something like a 6x6, which is
Yeah,
like
which is really good, obviously, but like we also signed
yeah,
Demko for 5 years, so you're not gonna have Markstrom and Demko for what is it, like 11, $12 million, right? I mean, it's great in theory, but they're both number ones.
36 mil contract.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, I mean, like fair enough. Like either of you were gonna trade Demko, which I don't think would be smart since he's like a younger guy, right? And they're both number one goalies, so it made sense. But that being said, I do like to see him do good, even though I don't like the Flames. Like it is good to see him do good, and Tanev as well. Tanev's been playing really great. And Stunt is also saying Markstrom should be a Vezina finalist, and I think so too. His numbers have been so good. He's the most shutouts, I think. Like I know Calgary is very, very good defensively and have a very good defensive system, which I would say like definitely inflates stats a little bit, just like any other team with whatever system they're playing. But that doesn't take away from how good he's been playing in general. Like even like Tanev has been playing really, really good despite the systems being very, very well implemented. I think they've both been playing very, very good. So you guys must be happy with those guys. And now you guys have Toffoli as well, another Canuck, former Canuck.
Exactly. Clean house.
Well, the Sutter connection looks really, really good in there. Because, like, last year they were a little shaky, but, you know, Johnny Hockey's been playing so well. Matthew Tkachuk's playing really well. Like, Lindholm's playing really well. Backlund's not bad. You have a lot of these, like, Mangiapane, too.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of these, and the worst part is you've got these expiring deals. So next year, like it's going to be such a cap crunch to try and get everybody signed, keep this core together.
Right, and because Goudreau's having such an insane year, I know he's gonna get a really big haul on like a lot of money for sure, or at least by other teams because he's a UFA, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken, or is he RFA?
He's a UFA.
I think he's a UFA, right? I'm sure a lot of teams are gonna offer him a lot of money, and it's gonna be hard for Calgary to keep him. They can do it. It's just gonna come down to what they prioritize, right? Because Chuck is also a free agent as of next year, like the following year, I believe, and that's like one of their big leaders, I would say as well. So it's gonna be tough to move on from either one of them. It's just gonna come down to what they prioritize, really. But every team has their cap crunches and they find a way to do it. Vegas has their LTIR system, just like Tampa Bay. They have their cap space on reserved or whatever they do, and then they all figure it out. So
need a conveniently timed injury to Goudreau and we'll be all good.
Yeah, there you go.
Stuckman said, "Would you root for the Calgary Canucks if they met Tampa Bay for the Cup?"
No, I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it. I listen. I can't cheer for the Flames. I'm sorry. I would be happy for Markstrom if he won and happy for Tanev, but I do want to see a three-peat. Like if it comes down to that, I would say that would be insane because we haven't seen a three-peat, and I don't even think I haven't seen a three-peat since I've been born. So, Penguins have had their dynasty. The Blackhawks have had their dynasty, although I find it pretty tainted now. Like it's just stupid in my opinion. But anyway, even the Kings, like I would say those are the big three, right? The Kings, Chicago, and the Pens. And I think if Tampa, what's that?
None of them
yeah, exactly. So I'm saying like if Tampa does win their third in a row, I would say they have to be the best team in our generation. I would say.
I want to see them get beat by the Columbus Blue Jackets. That'd be really funny.
That'd be pretty funny, right?
They could easily already be at 3 in a row. They had that in the best record in the league in the President's Cup. There, and they got swept in the first round. So
exactly.
Definitely. It's been a solid run for that team for sure. Be interesting to see how long they can keep that sustained success going.
Exactly. And
MJ said the New York Islanders were a dynasty. Detroit. There's quite a few. There was a time where it was either like a team won 3 in a row, but then you had all these weird teams like Carolina has a cup in there. Who else is weird? Tampa has the cup. The puck was in. You know,
I was gonna say if I had a dream finals matchup here, it'd definitely be that 2004 rematch. Get the Flames back, get that shot back at the Lightning for sure.
Yeah. No, you are right though. There was a bunch of teams that had their dynasties, like in the 80s and even 90s as well. And Detroit made the playoffs. What was it, 20 years right in a row? So they were always consistently good. And but yeah, I mean, this generation, like I would say in the 2000s era, we have seen it like a few times, but I still think like if Tampa does three-peat, they have three cups, and they also have the year where they broke all those records, whatever it was for the President's Trophy, and like Kucherov was on an unreal pace, and everybody
Hmm.
was just playing insane, and they didn't even win that year. So if you want to even count those 4 years together alone, I would say like they surpass Chicago,
Hmm.
LA, and Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, one more quick thing I wanted to mention before we moved on to our redrafts is, Kyle Dubas traded Nick Ritchie and Toronto's 2023 third or Toronto's 2020 fifth second rounder for Ilya Nebushkin and Ryan Dzingel. Ryan Dzingel got waived this morning,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just Ilya Nebushkin for he's a right-handed D. I think he's going to be on their third pairing. I think it's a solid trade because Nick Ritchie, I think they overpaid for him, and Arizona wants garbage right now.
Yeah. They're just the garbage, fucking the freaking garbage. What is it? Garbage truck that comes by every week and just picks something up. That's what they
Mhm,
are
yeah,
right now. I mean,
yeah.
I think for Toronto, like just anything. I don't know, man. I thought last year would be their best chance of winning a cup because I thought their roster is so stacked, and I really don't think they'll surpass that roster like in the
Hmm.
next few years. That doesn't mean necessarily they're gonna do worse in these upcoming years. I just think that that roster should have won something or at least done better than what they did.
Yeah.
So I think in this case, like you can just make these deals because you just gotta keep trying to find pieces, something that will stick, that
Hmm.
will help your roster in any minimal way you can, right? Because you are at the end of the day, you're still gonna rely on their big
Hmm.
four or big five. Well, I mean, you got Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Marner. Did I say Marner twice? I don't know. Okay, anyway, those four. Then you have Riley as well. So those are the guys you're relying on at the end of the day, and
You have Jack
everything.
Campbell.
Yeah, and Jack Campbell as well, right?
You have the bane of your existence.
Yeah, and yeah, at the end of the day, like every
Hmm.
deal that you make, it's just gonna be like a minimal, kind of push to like just make them a little bit better because you're still gonna rely on those guys, right? And you're paying them to rely on them, so. Yeah, I mean it's fine, right? I mean it's fine. We'll see what happens. I don't even know how much he's gonna play to be honest, but
Hmm.
we'll see. You never know. But real quick though, before we do move on though, I was just gonna ask, do you guys think what do you guys think about Fleury saying it was a little while back he said there was rumors about him going to the Capitals and they want to make a push for him, and he said that he's still a pen at heart, like he doesn't want to, like he wouldn't do it,
Hmm.
but. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that he's going to get traded at this deadline here?
Uh, it's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could be in a position to make a move like that, and like you said, I mean, such a huge part of considering making a playoff run is having the goalie position
Mm-hmm.
figured out. So that is definitely if a team wants to consider making a run, especially this year when it's going to be so tough and
Hmm.
there's a number of teams that have a legit shot. I could definitely see a move like that happening. He still has value for sure. I think everybody knows that he could still go somewhere and win them games when it matters. So you could definitely see a move being made, but I don't know. I don't know exactly where the logical spot would be, which is what makes it tricky.
I think he's better than Campbell, man. Put him in Toronto.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
What do you think,
Like,
Punch?
so funny enough, Vegas needs a goalie now because Leonard is out.
Oh yeah.
Does do they future cash considerations him again for to go back to Vegas? Probably not. But um Dallas needs a goalie, but they're kind of in this weird spot. There's a lot of teams where if they have this and that and this, like they could be playoff contenders. I wouldn't say cup contenders, but there's a couple teams that need a goalie and they need one now. Philadelphia needs a goalie.
Oh
Connor Hart
yeah.
or Carter Hart. I like you, but you know
I think
you need somebody solid.
yeah, I think if Carter Hart was under better mentorship, maybe he would do a little bit better. Like he's still very very young. He's the youngest, one of the youngest goalies in the league. I think he is the youngest goalie in the league actually still, and he's still learning. I don't doubt that he's gonna be good in the future, but I don't think playing. Is it wait? Who is in net? Is it who's the backup? Is it
Martin
Jones? Yeah. I don't know if
Jones.
playing behind Martin Jones is gonna. I mean, he has the knowledge. He's been in the league for a while, but
Hmm.
Fleury is better than Martin Jones, I would say. So at least for sure right
Don't
now.
you dare. No slander for Martin Jones.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fit. And then also, him going back to the
Hmm.
Penguins might make some kind of sense. But then again, Jari is playing very, very good. But I would
Hmm.
like to see him retire as a Penguin. That would be kind of cool. Cheesewood says Halak for Eichel, and I would be down, but I feel like we're ripping off, or Vegas is ripping us off a little bit. I think we need more than just Eichel. We need like Eichel, Pacioretty, Stone, and then maybe a pick, and we can trade Halak. All right, I think that's the move, move through there. And
Yeah.
yeah, Stunk is also saying Fleury getting moved at the deadline. This is his last year in Chicago is going to send him home to Pittsburgh. So yeah, if this is his last year, then for sure I would be that'd be cool to see if he just ends up in Pittsburgh, right? But
You know what would be a solid? I could see him going to Minnesota.
yeah,
Minnesota's a solid contender right now. Max Talbot, Cam Talbot's holding down the fort, but if they switch Cam Talbot to their B, put in Flurry,
yeah,
because Carill's having an unreal year. Dumba, I think he's a Calgary boy. Shout out to the Calgary boys. Um,
yeah.
uh, the second best Goudreau in the league is playing fairly well. Boldy's playing well.
Boldy had a
I
hat
can
trick, didn't
see
he?
he did.
Yeah.
So I could see Minnesota just going. We're gonna take the leap and um go for it. But yeah.
I could see it. I mean, Minnesota is just a weird team. I actually wonder how they're gonna do in the playoffs. And honestly, like spoiler alert, looking at some of the draft, we're gonna redraft some years here. I just saw Fiala was in the 2014 draft, and I'm just like, he's actually been in the league for quite a while. I didn't even realize, but I think he really emerged.
Mhm.
Just I'd probably say a couple years ago. I would say 2019. He really like emerged, and I think it just talks and shows
Mhm.
how these draft picks in these first rounds,
They
they
don't
don't
pan
always
out.
become stars and stuff like right away. Like I think we're just so spoiled with like people in the top 10 doing so
Mhm.
good right away, whereas like other players can also be that good. It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we looking back at these drafts, which we'll see in a little bit, I guess, like you'll definitely see that. Like I was surprised seeing some names.
Cool. All right,
Yeah,
let's
for
move
sure.
on to our redrafts then. All right, Jack,
Oh,
since you're
yeah.
the guest, I'll let you go first.
So which draft was
Sure. Are we
yours?
doing are we gonna do all 10 at once, or do you want to go like pick by pick in each year? We're gonna do that here.
Um, do your whole thing at once. So go start from 10 to 1. Or sorry, go 1 to 10 and then tell us any notable prospects that should have been up higher
Here,
that you looked at.
is it 2015?
Yeah, for sure. I had 2016.
2016. Okay, I'll put it up on the screen
Mhm,
here. I'll
for
cover.
sure.
Whose face should I cover? I'll cover my face. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. So this is the top 10 as of right now, what actually happened.
Mhm.
And you can go ahead and say what you wanted to change.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I did the 2016 year. Calgary had a pretty high pick. This was the year we took Matthew Tkachuk sixth overall, and this was also the year that Austin Matthews went first overall and Line went second. So yeah, there were some interesting ones. One of the most interesting things I found. This was only, I guess it is 5, 6 years ago now.
Mm.
But five of the guys originally drafted in the top 10 have already been traded from the team that they were drafted to. I thought it was interesting. A lot of them are still finding a lot of success in the league, but not necessarily with the team they were drafted to. So when I was thinking about the redraft, I kind of took that into consideration, that if the pick didn't work out for the team just because they're a good player doesn't necessarily mean that they should have stayed in that spot. So that was, like you'll see with the Line A pick there.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I'll just get right into it. So first overall, I still have Toronto going with Austin Matthews. You know, I'm sure they haven't found the playoff success that they've been looking for with him. But obviously, I'm sure they're not upset with the way that pick went for them. Moving on to second there. So I have the Jets now taking Tkachuk. Obviously, a little bit of bias just being a Flames fan. I'm a huge Tkachuk fan, but I think it's a completely ridiculous statement. He was one of the most talented guys in the draft already. He went 6th overall. But maybe the history would have worked out better. They wouldn't have had the locker room issues that they had with Laine. So I have Tkachuk going second there. With that taking into consideration, Columbus at 3, they had originally taken Pierre-Luc Dubois. I have them now taking Laine. I think if Laine had fallen to 3, there's no way that he wouldn't have gotten snatched up there. So I think that's hopefully a better fit as well, because those two ended up actually being a part of the same trade package. Like Dubois, I think it was Dubois and a 3rd, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so Dubois.
Do you think Laine would have done well with Torts?
I don't know. That is, I think when you come in as a rookie into like a different setting, I think things might have turned out differently if his introduction to the league had been a little different than it was going into Colorado, where he was going into Winnipeg, where he was kind of like already a big star. That is definitely a wild card in it. It's always hard to say how guys would have fit into some of these systems. That's always a tough one to, but especially not necessarily having like a deep understanding of exactly how each team's system works, right? It's kind of hard to look back on some of these. And then this one was a bit of a slide. I hadn't even really thought about it, but just reading through some of the other redrafts. Alex DeBrincat going 4th overall to Edmonton. He went 39th overall originally. DeBrincat, sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just from what I read in there, it talked about he has a lot of development and has the potential to have a lot more upside too as well. And looking at some of the names on the board, and I wanted to have a little spice in there, a little interesting one. And then 5th overall here, where Vancouver had originally taken Ollie, and he ended up getting traded to Florida, and barely anything came out of that. So I have Vancouver taking Mikhail Sergachev here. He originally went 9th. Strong young defenseman would hopefully fit in well there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Honestly, I'd be happy with that today.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And then 6th overall here, where the Flames had originally taken Tkachuk. With Tkachuk off the boards, I have them taking Clayton Keller, who had originally gone 7th. Hopefully he had a strong rookie season, so hopefully he would have continued that success with Calgary. And hopefully, I think that's a guy that he just needs to find his form again. I think he has a lot of talent, but with some film on him, he started a little bit less success. And then 7th overall, I had Luc Dubois. Again, he didn't really work with his original landing spot in Columbus, but talented young kid. He could still fit in well. So I have him sliding in there with Arizona, because they had lost Clayton Keller. So figured similar young, solid center. 8th overall, I have Buffalo taking Charlie McAvoy, who was originally taken 14th overall. I have jumped into the top 10. They hope to get some more production out of him, because they had taken Alexander Nylander. He only scored 4 points in 19 games for them. Then the Montreal Canadiens taking Jacob Chychrun, is what I have here.
Oh, he's in that draft too. What in the world?
Yeah, he was 16th overall.
Wow.
But, he's had some trouble staying healthy, so I have him landing with Montreal there. And it's kind of funny. I was going to mention it when you were bringing him up earlier, but the biggest surprise here, he was originally 48th, but I have Colorado taking Carter Hart with the last pick there.
Oh,
a young goalie and a chance to develop there. And I mean, like you guys said, like he hasn't necessarily been unreal, but he's young and he definitely has a chance to develop. And with the roster, obviously they're in a different position today than they were then, but I think the roster could have shaped up nicely around a young goalie like that.
Well, is Patrick Waugh with the Colorado Avalanche, or would have been at that time, or is he with more Montreal now? Because that would, like, getting tutelage from Patrick Waugh would be insane.
Yeah, for sure. For any young goalie, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
I don't know.
So what was okay? Do you have like do you have the full list then? So like what? So it was Matthews, and then we had Tkachuk, Laine,
and then Laine, and DeBrincat, and then Mikhail Sergachev, and Clayton Keller, and Pierre-Luc Dubois, Charlie McAvoy, Jacob Chychrun, and Carter Hart.
Okay. So I think this might be a hot take, but I think I would put DeBrincat over Lane. He scores a lot.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it was just tough thinking, like, trying to put myself in the head of the team, considering how the first, like, the picks before them had shaken out, and it was just tough
Yeah.
seeing Line slide, But
Yeah, that's true. That
Yeah.
that is a good way to look at it. But I mean, the thing is like I just want to see Lane play a full 82 game season and just like because I think he'd do really good. It's just these last 3 years or 3 calendar years have been very tough for him in terms of injuries and trades and there's also
Hmm.
COVID and stuff too, which is tough for everybody. But yeah, I would like to see like just a full season of him because I'm sure he'll get back to what he was. But that being said, like I can't really ignore DeBrincat just playing as good as he has been. When did he
Hmm.
go in the draft? You said 30 something, right?
39.
39. Yeah, he has
Yeah,
like
looking at the list, I would say that was
yikes.
probably the biggest like value pick from where he ended up going. So if you were
Hmm.
talking about most underrated guys out of that draft,
Sure.
I'd say he was probably up there for sure.
And then I would
That's what I definitely found it interesting looking at these guys that had gone. So many of them have had a hard time putting a full season together, and I mean, especially
Hmm.
if you're drafted in 2016 and you're spending a year or two where you're going back and forth from the minors or an injury season, and then the shortened COVID season where so many of them already played less games. So there was a lot of them that it was tough to really have solid analysis on where they're at in their career because these are all still young guys, right? Who knows? There could still be some
mhm.
people that
Yeah.
come from even later in the draft that have an amazing career, right? So
Right.
Mhm.
So real quick before we move on, I actually have somebody who would go second overall that you did not mention.
yeah,
Yeah, Adam Fox in the third round to the
yeah.
Calgary Flames.
I know.
You didn't
I
put him
had
in?
him on. I had him on my list of
Yeah.
on the short list there. Once I kind of got towards the,
Hmm.
I sort of looked through a bunch of other redrafts and kind of ranked them and saw where everyone else had people, and there
Yeah.
was some just yeah, I had him right on my border of my list there, and then just thinking
Hmm.
on those last few picks, it seemed like there's some good fits. So
Yeah.
I definitely thought about putting him
So
in
yeah,
there
you
for
went
sure.
more for like the fits of like what the GM's
Yeah,
mindset would be.
I was
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
just trying to
Hmm.
put myself in the heads of the teams at the time.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough, fair enough. But that is crazy though. He went in the third round. Calgary had
Yeah,
him. I don't even remember what they just lost him for free, basically, didn't they? They
They
didn't.
did so. They essentially it was the same kind of situation with Jimmy Vesey,
Hmm.
where Calgary had drafted him. Fox went to university, and then when he was done, he didn't want to sign with Calgary, so they traded him.
Okay, okay, I see. One more guy. Oh my goodness. Okay, Jesper Bratt went in the sixth round, and so in
Hmm.
276 games, he has 173 points. So that's pretty good production, and he's played
yeah,
276 games. So I mean, he's been relatively healthy. That means throughout his entire career, but just crazy late round steals. Like Jesper Bratt's really good. Fox is in the third round. I saw another defenseman as well. Let's see real quick. It was Fox and well, Hronik plays a lot, but oh yeah, Samuel Girard. He is also very very good,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
he went 47th, so he went in the second round. Crazy second round steals.
Hmm.
that's always what's interesting about the draft, right? It's so hard to tell when these kids are so young.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
every sport, right? You always see it's just even the guys that get paid millions of dollars to do this for a living still can't get it right a lot of the time. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
and like the thing is there's just so many. Like scouting is so tough sometimes because there's so many factors that go into it. Like obviously the player as a whole, what you see face value, that's one factor that scouts will look at, of course, and their skills that they have, but also their surrounding supporting cast and how much they impact the player. Like I
Hmm.
like a good example I would say is like the San Jose draft pick William Eklund. He was drafted this year, and I watched him play like a lot, and that's somebody I wanted the Canucks to draft before we traded our pick for Ekman Larson. That's who I wanted to draft really badly, and I thought he was really really good, and he has a lot of skill. And when he's good, he's good. But when he's bad, like he's not scoring points for many games. He's not like it's like long droughts. And
Hmm.
I saw Will scouting. He's a
Well,
scout
yeah.
analyst. He was talking about it. He was just like he scouts him like he scouts a lot of players, and he was saying one thing he noticed is when the team was doing bad, he was also doing bad. So he was part of the problem, but also when the team is doing good, his point totals are very very high, which means like you can come to a conclusion that he's a good complementary player, right? Like he's a good player that when the team's rolling, like he's good, like he's gonna be there helping out, contributing, but he's not necessarily gonna be the driver to get the player into or get the team into the game, right? That's just an inference we can make. But at the end of the day, like you said, Jack, they are very, very young players and they can develop into something that was not even looked upon much earlier, right, in their career when they're
Sure.
17, 18 years old, right? So yeah.
Sure, and I think a big part of it too that you see at kind of almost any level of sport is that a lot of the time people that were higher level prospects going into whatever. So for take the NHL for example, so the higher level guys a lot of the time they come in with more of an ego and more of a sense of entitlement of being what comes with being a high round draft pick. And guys that come in later, a lot of the time they know that they have to work for everything. So a lot of
Yeah.
if the work ethic in the first 3 years is any indicator of what your career is going to look like, then I think the younger guy or the later round guys are kind of at an advantage in that end.
Yeah, agreed. And also a maturity thing as well, right? Like some people mature are much more mature than others. I still think to this day like Virtanen is he was drafted in the first round, like top 10. He was fifth, I think, right? Or
Mm.
six overall, one of the two. And he had a lot of skill, right? And obviously he's a player that just didn't put it together, but his off ice stuff is it just reflects his on ice game as well because he's just so immature. I found, and even today, like he's very like it just shows. Like in the beginning of his career, he just thought he was like much better than he was, and
Mm.
it's just yeah, it's just another factor as well. I mean, I can go on about him, but I don't really want to
Yeah.
because I'm gonna go on forever. So but
That's okay.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, right?
Well, the thing with like the NHL is you draft them while they're still in juniors. So you have these sometimes you have these like 4th, 5th round picks that blossom at 22, 23, which is great. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so like even like my favorite example, Joe Thornton, 7 points in his rookie year. You know, it happens. Stamkos struggled to score. Jack Hughes struggled to score. Gordie Howe struggled to score in his first 4 years. So if you judge a player by the first 4 years of their career, and then there's also some players like Galchenyuk scored really well in his first 4 years, and then he just tanked. Daniel Yakupov was just bad. I just needed to throw that out. Um, but it like the same. It happens where some people um, just develop later on in their career and they figure out a system that they fit in the best.
Right. Do you want to
For
move on
sure.
to your redraft punch?
Yeah.
All right.
So I did the 2015 draft.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a fun draft. So first to Edmonton, we're taking Sami Niku in the no, we're taking Connor McDavid. Um, Connor McDavid, like he's a generational talent. Let's not get that twisted. He looks better in red and white though. Come to Calgary.
Sure.
Second, I've got Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel, I really like. I hope to see more of him. Third, I have Kaprizov.
Hmm.
He was drafted in the 5th round this year, and I'd gone through all 7 rounds, and I didn't know that he's drafted. He was drafted that long ago. Sorry, Ryan or Dylan Strom, not cutting it. Uh, fourth, I've got Marner. I don't see him moving up or down. I think he was. That's the right spot for him. Um, so at fifth, originally it was Noah Hannafin, but I have Zach Rowins. Oh my Atlanta. Rare win. No,
Borensky.
Rowinski.
There you go.
Over him. I think Hannafin's good. I think he just needs more time, and I think Werenski ended up. He's just a better defenseman right now.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Six. I've got Matt Barzell over Pavel Zaka. But yeah, it speaks for itself. I took Shabbat over Provorov, and then Miku Rantanen over Rowinski, then Kyle Connor, and then Timo Meyer. And then for Boston, I don't know how Boston biffed so badly because they had 13, 14, and 15.
Mm-hmm.
So they took Jakub Zaboral, Jake DeBrusk, and Zach Sedishin, all solid players. But imagine Sebastian Aho, Troy Terry, and Brock Besser all on one team.
Well, like just looking at the next three picks is Barzell, Connor, and Shabbat. So like, you literally you could have just picked the next three guys. That would have been amazing. So
You could have put your hand on a piece of paper. You could have just pointed to somebody on the draft, and it would have been a lot better than their original 13, 14, 15. The 2015 draft was deep.
Oh yeah.
A strong draft.
It really is. Just to throw names out there, Ethan Bear's in there, Connor Garland, Mangiapane, Vejmelka, Appleton, Aiden Hill, Killington, Gooley, Hintz, Greenway, all great picks.
Blackwood as well. He's
Like
been playing a lot of games. I mean, he's a starter, right? So
you really couldn't have gone wrong in that whole draft unless you're Boston and you have 3 picks in the first round.
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, there are a lot of good players here. I just scrolling down here as well. Killington as well, and then he's a second round pick. I don't know if you mentioned him, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of good players in this draft for sure. But in the first round especially, this might probably go down as, at least for this era, as one of the, I think, the best draft, I would say. Like Eichel and McDavid alone will carry it, but there's so many good players here. For me, for my list, like who did you have third? You had
I put
Kaprizov?
Kirill.
Okay, yeah. I would keep the top three the way you had it, but I think Rantanen's better than Marner. That's what I think. I know Marner's a good playmaker, but Rantanen also puts up a fair amount of assists, and he's always on pace for over 35 to 40 goals every single year. He doesn't get to it because he doesn't play that many games, but yeah, he is a very, very dynamic offensive threat, and I would put him probably 4, and then maybe Marner 5th. I would have.
I had a lot of trouble with this because they're all really good.
Yeah, they are all really
good. I could even put Kyle Connor up 4.
Yeah, Kyle Connor should. I think so. Yeah.
But
go on, Punch. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Like Timo Meyer is fantastic. Anybody could have gone. Like aside from, I could keep 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6 through 10 could have gone in whatever order because they're all solid picks.
Right. I agree.
You can all build.
You see Zaka there at 6 though. Did you have Zaka in or out yet? He's out of the top 10, right?
Yeah, he's out.
So actually, funny enough, now we're talking about trade bait and all that. So there's some interest in Vancouver and Pavel Zaka. So that's something to look out for. And I don't know if it's gonna be Besser or Miller or whatever it is, but I would be happy with Zaka. He actually is a pretty good player. Like if we even just pull up his stats here, like this year
I think, yeah. Well, because I think he's good. I just don't think he's as good as Matt Barzal.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And there's like honestly so many people can be in this top 10. You technically could put Besser in the top 10. Shabbat should be in the top 10. Barzell,
Even
Connor, Troy Terry
Sebastian
for sure.
Aho.
Yeah, Aho. Like there's more. This is a really hard top 10 to pick here. So you picked a really good year. I actually think this will probably go down as the best draft of like this generation. And Quack is saying it's crazy this draft is 7 years ago. Feels like 3 max. I agree. Like it seems like not that long ago at all. But yeah, all of these players, like a lot of these players are actually in the NHL. Like if we actually just look through the first round, there's definitely more players that are playing that are not playing.
Yeah.
Where it's not like that in every single year, right? Quack also says the man in the top right staring into my soul. So I think he's talking about you, Jack. I think you're giving him a death stare here.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
No, it's all good.
I'm shocked here that Sebastian Aho had gone 35th. I don't know. Was this before or after? I guess that would have been before his last World Junior season. That
Um,
was when did they win gold? That was in 2016 that they won gold.
I think it was
I just remember
2016.
he had 7 games played. He had 14 points in that tournament. I just remember he went absolutely crazy. And but yeah, I guess if that was before, I don't know if that would have been
Mhm.
before or after the draft. That would have been before the draft. So I'm kind of surprised he went as late as he did. But
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to kind of look back at some of these like these second, third round steals, whatever it is. Like maybe for another podcast or whatever we do, and just like
Mhm.
look back at some scouting reports from back then of what they are.
Oh, we should read. Yeah, read. Have you seen? There's like a segment. I can't remember which talk show has it, but they had like NFL like stars, so J.J. Watt, Richard Sherman, like Drew Brees, and
Mm.
then they had somebody like read their like negative like draft or their draft weaknesses.
yeah,
And my favorite was somebody called J.J. Watt dumb,
What the
and he
hell?
said he only had one rush or he had only one pass rush move, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Well, okay.
works pretty well.
Queso from the chat says the guy in the bottom reminds me of Russell from the movie Up. You
I
know
am
what,
Russell
Ponch?
from Up.
I can actually see it. I'm not gonna lie. I can see it. Are you a Boy Scout? Were you ever a
I'm
Boy Scout?
a Boy Scout.
Not even a chirp, honestly. Russell was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's not a trip
Yeah.
at all. Russell was like he carried the movie, man. He was great.
100%.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
he was great.
So,
I'm actually getting a. I don't know if you. I'm so sure that nobody here in the chat and either of you guys have watched this show, but I'm getting a lot of people messaging me on Discord or Snapchat or just in person telling me that I look like Deep or not Deep, sorry, Shake from Love Is Blind. Have you guys seen this show?
no,
No, but
I'm
now I've got to
I'm gonna
look it up.
I'm gonna pull it up on stream
yeah.
here for you. Hold on.
This is what
This
we
is.
started with drafts, and now we're doing movie comparisons.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is Shake. Okay, I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna close or make this smaller. Oh shoot. Hold on. I'll make this smaller so then we can just compare. We can put him next to my face here. And it's so stupid. I hate it so much
I
because
I kind of see it, but like also,
look,
do you,
okay, here's what I'll say, all right? I'm gonna look the way he's looking, cover his top half of his face, and then look at me, okay?
I guess.
Do you get it?
I guess.
I personally hate this so much because he is such an idiot in the show. Like he is so dumb. Like honestly,
Mhm.
like it is time for another time. We'll talk about it another time. But anyway,
That's okay.
back to hockey.
Let's
um,
yeah. Let us know what's your redraft.
so my redraft. Okay, I did the 2014 year, so we've I guess we've done consecutive years here. So
Mhm.
I'll pull it up here. So this was the original 2014 draft. Okay, so we had Ekblad going first, Reinhardt second, Draisaitl third, Bennett to Calgary at four, Dalcole fifth, Vertanen six, Hayden Fleury seven, Nylander eight, or Ehlers nine, and Richie at 10. So
Mhm.
I would honestly this draft. I'm just gonna the way I looked at it is I'm gonna go by best players. Okay, I didn't look at it as a way of like what team would draft
Yeah.
what. I just think like this is the best 10. Okay, so there is nothing in this top 10 that stays the same. Okay, so first. Ekblad at first, I would not keep him at first. I would actually put Draisaitl at first. Okay, I think that's a slam dunk. He's won multiple trophies. I mean, he hasn't done anything in the playoffs, but if you're gonna build your team around somebody here, I would start with
Mhm.
Draisaitl. The second guy for Buffalo, he's all the way down here, 25th overall, David Pastrnak. So I'd put him second
Oh.
overall. Um, third overall, I would put. This actually might be a deep reach, but I don't know. I I like Larkin a lot. He went 15th to Detroit, and he's a great player. I would put him third. Ekblad fourth. I know he's having a crazy year, but I still take all three of those players over Ekblad. I think if I was gonna start a franchise or something like that, I would build around those guys. Like you have Draisaitl, who has scored 50 multiple times. You have Pastrnak, who's also arguably one of the best scorers in the league amongst Matthews and whoever else, Ovechkin, right? And then third, you have Larkin, who always puts up the points. He always shows up. He hasn't always been super healthy, but he's one of the fastest players in the league, and he's very dynamic as well. You can definitely build around him, and he can play with anybody, right? So I would put him third, and he would go to Edmonton. And how crazy would that be to have it's crazy to have Draisaitl and McDavid, but two really really fast guys, and Larkin and McDavid would be insane to look at too, right? Yeah, so we got those three, and then we got four at Calgary. We got Ekblad, and I'm sure he'd do great there as well. Especially in today's Calgary Flames, like I think he'd thrive a lot better. Like Florida is very good, obviously, but I think Calgary's offensive systems, the Sutter systems are always so well implemented, and I would put him at 4. Number 5, this was getting like now you can kind of pick and choose from anybody you want here, but number 5, personally, I like Ehlers a little bit better than Nylander, so I would put him at number 5. And then number 6, where everybody says the Canucks who they should have taken is Nylander, so I put him at number 6. Number 7, I would actually put deep reach maybe, but Thatcher Demko. He went in the second round, so I put him at number 7 of Carolina. And again, Carolina has very good defensive systems, and we talked about I've talked about in previous podcasts how good they've been with kind of mediocre average goalies, and now they have Anderson, who is better than mediocre. I'm not saying he's amazing, but he's definitely better than average, and he's thriving. He's like a Vezina candidate. I don't know if he's gonna win it, but he is a Vezina candidate. So if you had someone like Demko there as well, it would have been curious to see how their future would pan out. So him at 7, and then number 8 in Toronto, I'd put Kevin Fiala. That was someone who I was just talking about earlier, saying I can't believe he's already been in the league for this long. Like it's now in year 8 for Kevin Fiala. So him on Toronto will be pretty good as well, besides Matthews, Tavares, and Marner. Sorry, I think they're cooking upstairs or something. I don't know what they're doing, but they're super loud. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But anyway, number 9 for Winnipeg, I would have. Who did I have? I completely forgot who I had. Oh no, I lost it. I lost it, guys. Oh no. 9, Winnipeg. Oh, Alex Tuch. I would put Alex Tuch at number 9. He's in Buffalo right now. He's also a really good player. He's a good power forward. I think he's like the model power forward of what people envision power forwards to be, where they're like, okay, I want you to just drive the net, play like this, and like that's what the Canucks wanted Virtanen to do for so long, and he just never did that. But he's like the model of a power forward in like today's NHL, and he's very fast, and he can score a lot too, so he should be in the top 10, I think. And number 10, I would put Tony DeAngelo. He's having a great year in Carolina. He had some issues like off ice, which kind of derailed the hype for him, I would say, in the last year or so. But I would put him at number 10. I don't know how many points he has. I can quickly check here. He has.
I think he's a point per game.
Yeah.
Or at least he's really close.
Yeah, he's 40 points and 42, 9 goals this year. And he actually did really good in the Rangers as well, 53 points in 68 games. So he's a right-hand shot, and a lot of teams need that. So I would put him at number 10. So yeah, that's my top 10. Any disputes at all?
You have Braden Point on there?
Is he in this draft? He should. Okay.
Yeah, he was in the 3rd round. I was just looking back.
Oh, I didn't put Braden Point there. So I would probably put Braden Point like. I'll put him ahead of Nylander and Ehlers, so I'll put him around 5 or 6, around there, and bump out, I guess, DeAngelo by 1 or Tuch. Either one of them is interchangeable, I would say. That's what I think. Is he like the big steal of that draft?
Yeah, he seems to be from everything I'm seeing here.
I think so. He's making less money than Marner and has more rings.
Yeah, that's true. Arvidsson as well, I guess, is in this draft. He went in the 4th round. He's played 428 games. So he's a clear-cut NHLer. And he's playing great right now as well. Sorokin, nice. Devon Toews is also doing pretty well as well. He went in the 4th round. And LeBanc, he went 6th round to San Jose.
Love LeBanc.
Yeah. And then Andre Kasha, he went in the 7th round. So he was actually.
You forgot Igor. Igor is in this draft.
Igor? Okay, so if I was. Now I'm going to have to redraft it again. I'll probably. So I would take out I would definitely take out both D'Angelo and Tuck then, and we put Point in, and we put Shesterkin in. So I would have. Hmm. This is difficult. See, that's the thing. We never really see goalies in top 10, but I had Demko at 7. I would put Shesterkin probably 7 or 5 or 6. Sorry, 6 or 7, and I put Demko one below him, just because I think he's a little bit ahead of Demko right now in their careers. I don't want to be biased. I believe Demko's better, but let's just say it for the sake of not being biased, Shesterkin's better. Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
always an
I
interesting
think.
little exercise to do.
I think we all ended up with some solid drafts, and like I can't wait to look back at 2017, 18, 19 in like 4 years from now, when everybody's starting to come back in
Yeah.
and see those. Like even now we have like San Jose. I'm always gonna bring up San Jose because I'm a homer. Um, Brandon Coe leads the league in, or leads the OHL in points. He was drafted in the fourth. Uh, Gannon LaRock has the most points as a defenseman on the Royals. Bordelot is tearing it up with Owen Power and that like Michigan like team. It's like these. It's always cool when you see these like 8-9 or 8-9 4, 5, 6 like those late rounders just blossom into something cool.
hmm
Even Lundqvist was the seventh. But yeah, no, I think. Do you guys have any final thoughts on drafts and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it's just, I guess, last thought for me. Like you said, it does take a few years to really see. Like, we can already kind of see like the 2018 draft had Pedersen, Makar in it. Then neither one of them went 1 and 2, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it was Patrick who went. It was Nico Hischier and Patrick who went 1 and 2 in those years, and you wouldn't draft them there now. I wouldn't say so. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can already see kind of a separation, but just a combination of everything we said so far. One, prospects take longer to develop than others, and two, development isn't linear. So somebody can do really great out of the gate and then slow down, as we're seeing with Pedersen right now. And yeah, it's just probably 5, 6, 7 years down the road, we'll probably see a much clearer picture of like who's better and where everybody would place, and it would be more of a kind of unanimous decision as to where everybody
Mm-hmm.
goes. You know.
For sure. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
similar for closing comments. Just for the fans, I think it's important to remember when your team makes a pick, don't freak out or be thrilled right away. Give it time to develop and see how the pick plays out. I think you see that all the time in sports. Guys that are in their first or second year, that you already have fans calling for a trade or calling for their head. And yeah, I think just take a deep breath, wait and see how these guys turn out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, even if like 4 or 5 years in, it's not looking like it went well, it could turn into something that you never expected, or you could get a guy from another team that hadn't had a success in his first 4 or 5 years, and something just clicks, right? So
Well, real
Mm-hmm.
quick
just
as well.
have faith, trust the system.
Yeah, real quick as well. Just you guys seen firsthand in Sam Bennett. I mean, I'm sure you guys would have loved the Sam Bennett of this year
Mm-hmm.
on Calgary,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Sometimes just
Yeah.
different teams do work better for others.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah,
In a
and
sport like
Jesus said,
hockey, like any
yeah,
sport like that, where the chemistry is so important.
yeah, definitely. And like Jesus says, like Caulfield, like he had a great year last year, and he's struggling a little bit this year. It's going to happen, you know. What were we doing at 18, 19?
Exactly.
Imagine
Exactly.
people need to like put themselves in their shoes. At Dude, I was a mess at 18,
Yeah,
19.
100%. You got a lot to figure out.
Mm-hmm. And these kids are they're coming out of high school into like the biggest stages. So they need a second. It's all right. But yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to Jack. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun
Absolutely.
having you on the podcast. Um, Jack, do you have anything that you'd want to plug?
No, not at the moment. Yeah, just a big thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on and do this. Always fun to come talk sports, and It was a pleasure. Yeah, this is my first podcast experience, so it was cool to get on here and do this with you guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, that's great. I appreciate you coming on, and so we're gonna have to book you in for 6 years down the road, and for us to look
Exactly.
back at these drafts that we did and see if we're right or wrong or what happens.
Yeah.
So,
A
yeah,
redraft or redraft.
redraft the redraft.
Yeah. Shout out to Jack and his girlfriend. It's his anniversary today.
Oh, happy
Um,
anniversary.
Appreciate it.
So we've got to go because Jack's got to go. We'll drop the links, but the Fan Connection podcast is on YouTube. It's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, whatever Apple uses nowadays. They're probably going to change it up on you because that's Apple. But yeah, you can find us everywhere. So for those who are in chat, we're going to stick around for a second because we're going to raid another Twitch user. But thank you to everybody who's been listening along the way. We're back Sundays and Wednesdays. So if you want to listen to us live on Twitch, it's at some lazy guy 09, or sometimes it'll be twitch.tv/Birdaman, one of those two. But yeah, big thank you, and we will see you all next week.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
Care.
All right.